Yeah, we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our virtual party, African Connect virtual party. I mean, it has been a very, if I can use the language, crazy. It has been a very crazy year. I know some people said, oh, this was the best year of my life. I know others were like, oh my goodness, I don't think I will count 2020. And if they turned 15 this year, they said no, they are still 14 because they are not counting 2020. But in all, we are alive. I feel like regardless of how the year went, the fact that we still have life. So there's this adage in my culture that says, oh, and so the fact that you still have life, you can live, you're able to survive and you can still thrive. So that is very important. So welcome all of you to our virtual party. And before I even do it, I just want to thank the team. Oh my goodness, the team that I work with. I know that usually it's just my face that you see because I moderate the program, but I have an amazing group of women. I know I'm into diversity and all, but for some reason, all the people on my team are women, and it's just a full house of power that move African Connect. We've had such a great year at African Connect, and I just want to say kudos to them. First on the list is our Vice President, Buki Auntie. We just want to say thank you so much. All the crazy ideas that you see us implement, Buki, she's just a powerhouse of creative ideas. Sometimes when we sit down at the table, the ideas that Buki would, what if we do this? Let's do this, let's do that. And so even this was one of her ideas, bringing this online. So many things that we do, so many of the funds that we've gotten. Buki is like, let's send this idea there. So I just want to appreciate you so much. Bukula means God has given me wealth. Thank you so much for your support to African Connect. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next on the list, in no particular order, is Barbara. Mama Barbara, if you don't bring the receipt, she's our account officer. If you buy something, you don't bring the receipt. If you buy something, she will test your name. What did you just use the card? She is making sure that we are using the funds for the right purposes. And we just want to appreciate it. The number of times that Barbara and I have slept around 1 a.m. just trying to finish up a report or just trying to finish up sending a proposal. Thank you so much, Barbara, for all your work. And I just want to appreciate you for everything that you do for us. We really appreciate you. Yay. Next is Mercy. Oh, all the posts that you see on our social media page. I just started a business with my sister and I'm supporting on her social media page. It's crazy. Mercy does everything. Everything that you see on our social media pages, all the posts, all the posters, Mercy does it. She is amazing. She used to be our secretary as well, but there was so much work. And so just imagine her doing all the social media things, doing all the posters. If you got the COVID package in the some months back, she did the booklet that came with it. Mercy, we just want to thank you. Even if we go live, if we have any technical issues, she's our IT stroke, creative stroke secretary. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done. I know sometimes I text you as late as whenever and I say, please don't read this, even if you can see it, read it in the morning. Thank you so much for all the help that you do. And then we have Mabel. Mabel, we just want to thank you for everything that you do for the association. So Mabel currently is running, single-handedly running our Christmas COVID package. She's doing amazing. She's our current secretary now. And I just want to thank all of you. We couldn't have come this far without your help. And although I'm the face, I wanted people to know that there is a story at the backstage and there are powerful women that push me, that bring the ideas. Oh, let's talk about this. Oh, I know this. Oh, I'll connect you to this person to be our guest speaker. I don't do it all. And I really, really appreciate all the hard work. We have one of our board of directors here, Nadia. Nadia, we just want to say thank you. I don't know if you can show your face, but we just want to appreciate
Hi.
you. Hi. We can't see you, but we can
Oh,
hear
God. Hi, there I am. I'm technical difficulties. I've got picture in the background. I'm just switching to a laptop. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Thank you
Oh.
so much for everything that you do and all the wonderful ideas, for always checking. Sometimes she'll just test you. What are you guys doing? What is going on? I hope you guys are doing well. We are supporting you. So keep on doing all that you're doing. So thank you, Nadia, for all the push. We really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
And so, yeah, and um, we recently have realized that there's been some racist comments going on our page. We just want to put it out there that as an organization, a registered non-for-profit operating in Calgary, we do not condone any racial, sexual, or homophobic comments on our page. We strive to have a very inclusive environment. If you have anything racist that you want to say, please keep it to yourself, and we would really appreciate that. So today, to start off our Christmas party, we'll have Buki tell us a little bit about African Connect as a non-for-profit. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, like Animo rightly said. Are you hearing me? Okay. My name is Buki Olubukola Adewumi. I'm also a member of African Connect. So before I start, I want to wish every one of us Merry Christmas. Though it's been a wonderful year, it's been so tough, but I have a principle. I always look at things from the positive side of it, no matter how tough, how challenging the situation might be. I remain hopeful, and I remain very positive. And that has been very helpful. It has been pushing me through. And I pray that God will see every one of us through gloriously. So I want to thank, though it's not time for me to say thank you, but I still want to say thank you to all our wonderful speakers. You've really made this organization so powerful, very impactful to as many that are listening. Oh, we can never forget the day Bamidele came on the show. Oh my God, everywhere was blown out. We say thank you so much. Thank you to Mr. Alex. You've been so supportive, very supportive. Many people will send message to me. I'll say, oh, go to Base Point. And the result has been very amazing. I want to say thank you to Mr. Adewale Adeumi. God bless you. Thank you for being there. So also to my wonderful president, the Animwa, Mercy, Barbara, Mabel, you are amazing. You are an asset to me. God bless you all. So we want to talk, I just want to briefly talk about African Connect. I don't have anything formal. I don't have anything official. I just want to be saying it the way it flows, right? So African Connect came to life precisely July 11, 2019. Yeah, it was an organization that was born out of compassion when we realized what we are going through as an immigrant, especially the professional ones. They came to Canada with high expectation. So on getting here, a lot of challenges here and there, Canadian experience, oh, your credentials is not recognized here and there, so many. So many people, as a result, many people are underemployed. Some are not even employed at all. We have a lot of challenges in this area. So we decided to come together we saw it as a need that needs to be met. We decided to come together. Oh, how can we do this? We started brainstorming, not because we want to have any gain, but because we want to support our African immigrants. We are full of potentials. We are talent. We are here to make an impact. So we can't afford to be relegated. So we want to break that glass ceiling. We want to move to the top, even in our career. So we decided to come together to talk about, talk about what we can do to help our community. So we started with this African Connect, starting from the name and everything, but through it all, at least we're able to push it to somewhere. So we have our mission statement. Our mission statement says, sorry, I'm going to read it out for us. This is our mission statement. So, one sec, please. Our mission statement says, providing services that will empower African immigrants and youth by enhancing their confidence and skill sets to facilitate their meaningful contribution to Canadian society. Oftentimes, we know that coming here sometimes where for me, I can use myself as an example. After landing, I don't know what to do. I got confused. But at a time, I just try to help myself, to build my confidence again, to pick myself where I found myself. And a lot of people are there facing same challenges. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. So we are here to build their confidence. We are here to support them. We stand as an information platform where African can always come to access whatever they want to know, anything they need to know, where they need to go, what information whatsoever that is needed for them. Because between me and you, let me tell you something. Information is key. Information is key. If you don't have information, you will just be going up and down, be talks here and there. I know someone that has been in this country for the past 7-8 years. She said today, today the person is a computer, whatever. Tomorrow, oh, I'm doing this business. Next tomorrow, I'm like, you are here to find your feet. That is just the problem. But the truth is that if you have this information, and this problem will persist as you continue to, as year goes by, if you don't find your feet on time. So we decided to come together to be a platform where information can be accessed. And we are trying to, connect with other community resources that we can liaise with, where we can refer our clients to. So that is our mission. So also our objective, we are here to sorry, let me bring out the objective for us. Our objective is to empower African immigrants with essential skills to be able to survive in Canada. We don't want to be doing all this precarious job all the time. We need to move to the top. We need to start where we drop our career. We came here as a professional. We can't come here and be working in a warehouse. So we want to empower African immigrants with essential skills that we need to be able to survive in Canada. Also enhance confidence of African immigrants and youth. Enhance the skill sets to be able to be employable in the Canadian workforce. Also to alleviate poverty amongst African immigrants. If we cannot eradicate it, we can alleviate it. And I know that as time goes on, we'll get there. And our core value is empowerment, confidence building, diversity, inclusiveness, sense of belonging. We have our diversity and inclusion guru in our midst that is helping us in this area. And we've been pushing through. So our sole aim is to connect African immigrants to opportunities in Canada. And I know that from the feedback that we've been getting, we have been very impactful, especially from this support group program that we have been having since May. It has been so wonderful. So, at this point, I want every one of us to go to our Facebook, like our Facebook, go to our Instagram page, like our Instagram page, go to LinkedIn and connect with us. Information is key. We can always share information everywhere. You can always get any information anywhere. So at this point, I'm going to say thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. And I hand over to Animwa.
Thank you so much, Bukola, for giving a brief history and the mission statements and objectives of what Afri-can Connect stands for. And so now the next thing on our agenda is to just do a review of everything that we did this year. So beginning of this year, one of the things that we wanted to do even before COVID hit, and I know we had this meeting in February, was to have meetings, internal meetings, like a support group. And this idea came because we realized a lot of people, or a lot of some African immigrants were going through a lot. And so they have come and they didn't have a good support system to support them. And I find that, and I know Bamidele mentioned this when he was here in October, about surrounding yourself with, being intentional about the people that you surround yourself with, people that will encourage you and support you and want you to achieve. And so that was kind of the idea we had, that we wanted to meet in person and support people, bring professionals who have done it, because it's achievable, it's attainable, you can do it. So bring people and say, people that have gone through it and say, this is the struggles, people that were not afraid to speak about their struggles and say, this is the struggles, this is what I did, and now I am here. And so you can do it. So that was the main aim of the in-person support group that we wanted to do. And then we wanted to bring snacks. We wanted to use it as a networking opportunity as well, where people could network. And then COVID hit right after we had the meeting in February, and we're trying to put things in place. COVID hit in March, and then everything was, you can't meet in person again. And so we still wanted to do this because we realized that even COVID makes it more difficult because people were losing their jobs. Lots of people were losing their jobs. Now, it wasn't just about how to find a job. It was people couldn't find jobs and people were losing jobs that they had found. And so we realized that we still needed this support group, and we decided to bring it online. And so the first online support group we had was in May, and we had Mr. Wale, who is here with us today, Wale Adewumi. He talked about tips and strategies of finding a job. And so he came very raw, told us the struggles that he had, if he had any, and how some of the tips and strategies that he can give to us so that we could find jobs. And so I don't know, what did you guys think about that event? For those of us that were here that saw that event, do you think that this is something this is a topic that moving forward we could have? What are your views on it? I'm not saying evaluate him as a speaker, but evaluate the topic and the essence that it has for us as Africans moving forward. Is this something that we can table and do it again in the next year, even before we go into brainstorming about topics for next year? So this is an open forum. So whenever you want to speak, you can just unmute yourself and speak, but please do not speak over someone, and be very respectful in your utterances.
I think it's a great idea. It's Nadia here. Hi, everyone. To continue because, the season we're in, well, not season, but pandemic has meant a lot of job losses, and there are people who are looking for support. So whichever way we can offer that, I think that will go a long way to help people. So I would say, yes, absolutely. It was great. And it's something, if anything, that's an area we should continue offering more topics and discussions on.
Okay. And so I think that was the first, and it was a success. It was a huge success. It was amazing, the kind of feedback we got. And so the next month, which was June, we brought Osagi, Godwin Osagi, to talk about how to be an entrepreneur in Canada, because we realized that not everyone would like to look for a job. Some people have entrepreneurial minds. So what is the right process? How do you get your business registered? And so he came and he talked to us about how to be an entrepreneur. And he told us about his struggles, the fact that he had to do that as a side business whilst he had his own business. And when that was big enough to support him, then he let go. And so that was what we had in June. In July, we had a safety professional come in and talk to us about being very safety cautious because COVID had gone to the higher stream. The numbers were rising, people were scared, people were dying. And so we had a professional come to talk to us about COVID. Then in August, I know, when we started this, everyone thought that it was just a way it was more like advising people how to immigrate. And we always say that Afri-can Connect is not immigration consulting firm. We do not advise people on how to immigrate because we are not certified, and also because the things change all the time. I remember that when I was coming here as an international student, there were so many things that I couldn't do. Like I didn't need to write a letter. I am so sorry. So what I was talking about how to immigrate. When I came here as an international student, there are so many things they are demanding from international students now that they did not demand from me. And so things change all the time. And if I decide to advise you, I'm going to advise you on a process that happened over 8 years ago, which is different from now. And so we had Alex from Base Point Immigration Services come and talk to us about how to immigrate. And it was an amazing experience. If you are watching us and you want to immigrate to Canada, please connect with Base Point Immigration Services. Their contact details are on our Facebook and Instagram and I think all our social media pages, you will find them. They will be your best plug for how to immigrate to Canada. Afri-can Connect as an organization do not advise people on how to immigrate. We can only support you when you are here. So that's what we had in August. It was great. In September, we had Margaret talk to us about mentorship, the role and the importance of mentorship for Africans. And in October, we have Bamidele come here. And I mean, he just totally blew our minds about some tips and strategies of how to survive. And I think he gave 7 powerful topics. And that's what we had in October. Last month, I know we had a discussion on how to build your credit, the importance of credit building and how to go about it in Canada. And so that's what we had last month. And this month we just decided to have a virtual party. We asked everyone to bring something to drink. And so whatever it is that you are drinking, you don't need to tell us, but just bring something to drink, even if it's water. And then we can brainstorm moving forward. What are some of the topics that we should talk about? And I think this is very important, because when you're doing something for a community, everything that you do should be community driven. And so we brought people from the community here to tell us, what do you think that we should talk about? And I think for me, moving into the next point on our agenda, the question I have is, what did you wish you knew when you had just arrived in Canada as a newcomer, as an international student, as a new immigrant? What did you think what information did you want to know? And so that is the question that I have for all of us. So anyone can go based on that conversation. We can say, this is what I wish I wanted to know. So then this could be a great topic for us to discuss moving into the new year. We are hoping that we can plan something out for the year. And if you have anyone that could be a guest speaker to speak on the topics that we are going to brainstorm, you can also say, maybe this person can come on and speak about this topic. So I've thrown the question, and now I want everyone to open up. What did you, because majority of us here are in Canada, and so what did you wish you knew as a newcomer, someone that had just come to Canada? Hi, everyone. I don't know if you are talking, that I can't hear you. What did we, okay, I will go first. Also, for me, as a new international student, looking back now, what I wish I knew then was maybe conversations around how to move from an international student and be a permanent resident. So that's what I wish I knew, because there were a lot of conflicting information running around. And so I wasn't so sure. And for some reason, I just stuck to the information that was running around, that, oh, you just need to finish school and then you need to work in Canada for a year before you can apply to be a permanent resident. I never heard about the express entry then. I never heard that with my work experience from back home, I could just apply. And if I write the English exam and all the good things that I needed to do, I would be able to become a permanent resident. I didn't know. The information I knew out there was, oh, you have to finish school and work for 1 year, and you can use that to apply for your permanent resident. So if I was going to go to school for 8 years, then I was going to be an international student all my life till then. So I had no idea. So one day I just decided to read about it, and I realized, oh my goodness, I don't have to even finish school before I can become this. And the processes are out there. And so that is something that I knew, the process. If I knew that there was someone I could go to and say, this is my status now, how can I do this? This is what I've done so far. How can you support me? I think it would have helped me in becoming a permanent resident longer. So for me, that was one thing that I wish I knew. And so the topic that comes in mind when I talk about that is the topic that we had in August with Alex again. The processes of immigrating and some of the ways and streams. So that is what comes in mind when I talk about this. For me, that's one of the biggest things that I wish I knew back then. anyone. I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I don't want to mention anyone's name, but I feel like all of us kind of sit there and said, this is something I wish I knew before I moved to Canada, or this is something I wish I knew when I had moved to Canada. And so please just speak out and let's get points or topics moving forward.
Hello.
Hi, Dele.
Hi, Nima. Thanks everyone for inviting me to this event. Okay, so for me, I wouldn't say what I wished I knew because I sort of had a lot of information coming in, and I mean a lot of the right information. It wasn't. I didn't have the experience of information overwhelm. You know that a lot of people tend to face because when you do random, Google searches, returns a lot of results and you don't even know where to begin from. So that can get you confused and you just don't know what information is accurate, which is reliable, which is current, and all of that. So I had the benefit of interacting with friends, who were already living in Calgary. And then I was also a participant in a couple of pre-arrival services. So those sort of provided me with the targeted information that I needed to settle in, and eventually, integrate into Canadian society. But from my conversations with a lot of newcomers on the program I work on, the Settlement Online Pre-Arrival Program, the questions that usually tend to be top of mind for them are around taxation. That's one. Taxation in Canada. Because for many of them, given the precarious nature of the job market in Canada, many of them are able to negotiate flexible working options where they're able to work remotely in Canada and they're still earning, their employers back home are still paying them salaries, even though they're in Canada and they're working remotely. So they want to know what the tax laws are where you're living in Canada, but earning your income from abroad. So they want to know, what the tax laws are regarding that. Then for some of them, they have their families here. Some would send their wives and kids ahead of them, and then they would stay back to work, back home. So they really want to know what the tax laws are around. So that's something you can talk about. This comes up very frequently in my conversations with newcomers. The second is education. A lot of newcomers want to know when is appropriate to actually seek additional education. I think there seems to be a lot of misinformation, on social platforms that if you don't have Canadian education, you cannot secure employment, which is not true. That's not true. So there are jobs, for which having Canadian education might, be an advantage for you. But that's not always the case. So people want to know, this question comes up very often in my conversations as well, if it's necessary for them to go back to school, get a Canadian master's degree, or, any industry any industry specific, academic qualification here that will position them for success in their job search. And the third is career transitions. A lot of people do not know where to begin. Like for some of them, they do want to settle in a place like Calgary, but the job market, the labor market does not offer sufficient opportunities in the fields in which they have experience. So they know for sure that they will need to transition to other career paths. So they just want to know what alternative career paths are viable and how they can make steps they need to take, the practical steps they need to take, make the transition happen. And that also ties into education. So they also want to know what funds, what grants are available, what scholarships are available, how they can access these grants to either get further, get additional education or training, professional training to make the transition happen. And then the fourth is accommodation. A lot of newcomers, I didn't have this experience when I came in, but more recently, a lot of people I meet with, the people I talk to are usually outside of Canada. So they would say that they've heard from recently landed friends and family that it's become an uphill task securing accommodation in Canada, that a lot of landlords would ask for referrals from previous landlords, which obviously they do not have, considering that they are new to Canada. And a lot of landlords would ask for proof of employment, which again, obviously many do not have, being new to Canada. So these are some of the issues that confront some of our newcomers to Canada. Issues like family size as well. They want to know what size of apartment is appropriate for their family size. So, there's the issue of a child not being adequately housed. When you have kids, one is 5 years old and the others of a different sex, they can't stay in the same room, things like that. Some landlords would not be willing to rent out, for example, a 2-bedroom apartment to a family of 5 with kids of different sexes and different, who are older. So that's another issue as well. Then someone to know if a basement apartment, is appropriate, because a lot of people have reservations about basement apartments. There's a lot of, I don't know what word would be appropriate here. There's a lot of, I don't know, I'm trying to find the right word here, around, basement apartments. So people have painted very horrible pictures for their friends and family back home, about basement apartments. So people are concerned about, sometimes that's what they can afford based on what they have in proof of funds. That's what they can afford. But they're also concerned, so they have safety concerns. They have all sorts of concerns with basement. So those are things that people usually want to know about. If anything else comes to mind, I will share before we go. I hope that helps.
That helps. Thank you so much. Okay, so maybe I'll change the question. Bamidele said he knew everything. So what do you think that, Dele, what was the question that you said for you? What you said you already knew everything. So how should I rephrase the question so that people will bring out, how do you think I should rephrase the question?
I think you asked the question rightly, but I'm just talking from my own personal experience that, I had sufficient, I wouldn't say I knew everything, but I had very good information that stood me in good stead, to succeed, to settle in, my wife and I. So, but I think you asked the right question. So everyone would have most likely different experience.
Okay, thank you. So we have in our chat box, I came in 2011 and I wish I knew about opportunities available to immigrants and their families, such as education grants or funds for new immigrants, freebies, any freebies available. Everyone like freebies. So I think that ties back into what Bamidele was saying about education, what are the funds available, what funding is available and all that. And so that is noted. Maybe the person also wanted to know more about child benefits and education savings plans, and that is very important. I was recently talking to someone, and the person told me the same thing, that I wish I knew about the child benefits. All the money I got for my children, I spent it. My husband and I spent it, and then when our children started going to school and they were asking for money, we had no money to give them. And I was wondering what was happening. My children said, you should have saved the money you have for us. And now my children are done with school and they have student loans and bills. And for them to be able to pay the student loans and bills, they are staying with us. And so they can't even go out and rent because that rent money they are using to pay. And so she was like, I wish I knew about this. I wish I wasn't in a space where everyone was spending their money and so I was spending mine. I wish I knew that I could save and I could invest. And so I think, thank you so much for sharing. That is one important topic. People are actually spending their children's tax benefit money and they are not saving it. So yes, and okay, so and I wish I knew about the financial and credit system, about mortgage, about credit cards, about tax and tax savings. So this is coming up again, and so this is something that I think we need to talk about mortgage especially. And it's funny, and I have a funny story. For some reason, my husband and I thought that we needed to save for about 5 years to get the kind of deposit that we needed to be able to buy a house. And so we were just on the journey of saving, and we happened to speak to someone. The person was like, "What? No, how much money do you have?" And then we told them, like, you have more than enough. You can just go get a house. You don't need to save. And so these are some of the things that we didn't know. And so it's very important that someone is bringing up about mortgage, how to get a mortgage, how does a down payment work, how much do you need, and all that. Credit card, tax and tax savings, that is great. And so, and the business opportunities and support available, I think that is amazing too. It will marvel you the kind of support available for immigrants. There are banks that are established to support immigrants. Sometimes the processes looks very tedious, but we definitely can get someone from one of the banks that are focused on supporting immigrants to come and talk to us about the fundings that are available, the opportunities that are available. Thank you so much, Alex, for sharing all this.
Yeah, I don't know if you don't mind if I can do.
Yeah, please come. We can't hear you for some reason. You are not muted, but we can't hear you. Okay, so Nadia, your hand is up, so you can have the floor. Alex will come back later.
Oh, hi. Yeah. I was just gonna piggyback on what the other gentleman said and the comments that he was making, and I think you mentioned a lot of them as well. So it's just really reiterating. I think it was Bamidele. Thank you. You had a lot of really great ideas, and mine was more about the career transitions because in my experience. What I've noticed is that sometimes the issue or the struggle with immigrating to Canada is sort of having this sense of, a better opportunity, which there is. And people come here really hoping that, their family will have, greater opportunities, better income, better standard of living, all of that. And that, of course, depends on the kind of job that you're able to do or get into. And a lot of the setbacks I find is with, for example, you are a nurse back home and you come here and you find out you have to now complete this exam and you don't have the time and you have to stay at home and take care of the kids and all of those barriers. So you end up just doing some ad hoc job just so that you can pay the bills. So with a career transition, what I want us to focus on, if we can, is really helping people transition into the roles or careers that they really do have a desire for, things that they really care about or have experience in, right? So you're an accountant, you come here and now, you're doing something completely different. It can be a transition for people who intentionally want to transition, but oftentimes in my experience, I've seen that people have transitioned just by necessity, right? That they've become like a support worker, or not that there's anything wrong with that if that's your choice, but they've been able to just settle and take whatever comes their way just so that they can sort of make ends meet. And that sometimes can be a bit of a shattered dream for people who feel like they haven't been able to, live the dream that they were thinking they could access in Canada. So that's one. And the other piece, which I think you talked about, with the experience that you shared with a friend who thought they could have saved with the child tax benefit. I think what you're inferring here is the personal finances. like education about personal finances, which is broad, right? So even understanding investments, what I've learned, not that I'm an expert at all, I'm not a financial person, but what I've learned over the years is that how we save or how we value money back home is totally different and what we're taught, because it's a communal environment where my success equals my uncles, my nephews, my, the whole family, and supporting everyone. And there's a great deal of expectation on people who are here to do that, and being able to really understand that if the money comes and it keeps on going, then you're not able to save or use that money to do something better in the future, or even saving your children's education fund, or having all of those things in place so that you're building for the future. I remember my parents never really had life insurance growing up because they were entrepreneurs and they had to just find their way. But in this system, like, you can't have a mortgage without mortgage insurance. Insurance is part of the system, and you want to make sure you have all of those things built in. So really helping people transition first with their careers, and also with, okay, you're here now. If you're intending to stay here, these are some of the personal finances foundations that you really need to understand in order to be successful. And I think there's so many things with that. You talked about mortgages, you talked about taxes, you talked about just different government requirements or resources that we can educate people on. And I think there are expertise out there who can really help people with personal finances. And the last thing I'll say is just, saving. We are in a consumer environment where I think even Africans are the worst consumers, because someone has a great car. I want that car too. I want to live in this community. I don't want to live in a basement, because that means my standard is lower than the other person, or whatever that is. And that means you're spending, and not really focusing on how much am I saving, how much am I spending? And then maybe we can throw it into the, how much do I donate, to church or to whatever my intentions are. I think all of that comes into, how do I make more money? And when I do make more money, how do I manage my finances so that I'm successful? I think that will go a long way. So that's my long-winded comments there.
And I'm so glad that you brought about insurances. And I feel like that is a lot, that topic is something that a lot of Africans that I've met do not know. It's only when someone dies and they do a GoFundMe and say, let's support the children, let's support funeral, because the person did not have an insurance, that people are like, oh my goodness, so what is life insurance? And I know that just a couple of months ago, someone died, and a family friend of ours that we've been talking to have a life insurance just said, I realized that the guy didn't have a life insurance, and now the family has to move out of the house. I'm now going to do a life insurance. So do you have to wait for someone to die for you to get that realization that I need a life insurance? What if it was you that died? What would have happened to your family? And so I think that is a very important topic. Insurances, especially life insurances in this part of the world, especially when you have a mortgage, even though whether you don't, or whether you don't have, because as you get older, the insurance rate goes high, and then you never know what kind of disease you're going to get along the way. You might never even have an insurance to begin with, or other. But thank you so much, Nadia, for sharing. These are really interesting topics coming up. Well, Mr. Wale, do you have something to say? I see that you are not muted, so I think you are ready to go. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nimwa. Thank you to every member of the team. I mean, practically, majority of the major issues that we face as immigrants has been touched by previous speakers. And like I always said, one of the major challenges that we immigrants face, which is number one, based on even statistics, is the issue of employment, which Bamidele has mentioned, and Nadia also talked about career transition. And I mean, being working in the financial industry, one of the things I would also want people to talk about is, just like Nadia mentioned, is the issue of personal finance. For me, maybe something I would have known before I come here is that the cost of living here is way, way higher than the cost of living in Nigeria. I was having a chat with someone yesterday, and the person was like, They came here and they were medical doctors. And when they came here, they were in the process of trying to get their certification to become a medical doctor. But they realized that what they pay in Nigeria as their annual payment for their rent is actually going to end up paying 2 months' rent here in Canada. So it is now obvious that whatever they put aside as rent here, based on the previous rent they were paying over home, was grossly inadequate. So as a result of that, a lot of people find themselves in a situation whereby even though they do not want to do those precarious jobs as was mentioned before, but they are also pressed on every side by the virtue of the fact that the funds available for them is not enough for them to be able to live comfortably. And you mentioned about the issue of uh, setting aside the payment that people get from children, which is the desirable. The desirable expectation is that people should be able to set aside those child benefits as savings for the children. But the initial challenge is settlement, survival, and so those child benefit comes in as a form of opportunity for them to get food on their table, to be able to meet their obligations. I think it's only when you have been able to meet your current obligations that when you can talk about savings. And so when you see immigrants come in and they're trying to kind of like set their food ready, get everything ready, then the initial set challenges is just making sure they survive. And so, but for me, what I'm just like Bamidele said, maybe like I was telling to someone, what helped me was that when I came in 2015, I had the opportunity of not staying permanently. I mean, I had to shuttle between here and my own country for 1 year. And I think that helped because I used that opportunity as a learning curve for me to see what people are going through here, why I still have my job, though I paid dearly for it in terms of my tax, because at the end of the day, I realized that I pay tax in Nigeria. And by the time I'm filing my tax here, I got a tax bill that I needed to pay also, which is also important that a lot of people know about tax, just as Bambila has mentioned, because people don't factor that into their plan. And so, I mean, but the beautiful thing is that I was able to know that I can actually pay my tax, be instrumentally without having to cough everything out at once. So I think those are the issues that you have mentioned, which I think is good. And the other issue that I want to mention, and for me, something I wish I knew and I would have said to him is that when I was in Nigeria, I was into a stock market. But when I get here, I kind of like struggle, even though I work in financial industry, to see how I can get into stock market. And I was having a discussion with someone about a month ago when I said, when I started knowing about stock, I realized that if I had bought Zoom stock in March, which was $80 in March, and in December, that same stock is selling for $400. I just realized that I could as well, if I've invested like $20,000, I could have well made more than half of your annual income just having that stock. So I think another area is for how do people do investment, just like Nadia mentioned, personal finance. How do you invest? What kind of investment? How do you get into stock market? What are the other alternatives? Because I mean, in Nigeria, we have stockbrokers. You know, we always go to stockbroking firm, but you don't see them here. So who do you go to? You talking to your bank? Is there any way you can do the trading yourself? And when you don't have the knowledge, how do you get the knowledge for you to be able to trade and invest and grow here? Because like we all know, I mean, we are here for a long run. And if we are here for a long run, it's important for us to put machinery in place to have a foundation that is going to take us for a very long time. And another thing I wish I know is that after working now is that you need a lot of money for retirement in this other part of the world. You know, need a lot of money. I was having a discussion with a colleague of mine in the office, and I said, like, how much do you need for retirement? And it was like, oh, it's also a function of your lifestyle and personality. And I said, for you, because it's still below 30. And it was like, he feels that he needs $2 million for retirement. I said, how do you mean? What do you need a lot of that money for? But, you know, over the years now, I've been able to look at the fact that unlike what we have back home, I know in Nigeria, just like we said, we have the support system. I mean, it is my responsibility as a son to support my father when they are retired. And but the mentality is different here. The son has his own life to live. The daughter, they have their own life to live. It's your own responsibility to prepare ahead for your own retirement. And I think these are part of the things that along the line, when people begin to settle or when they are finally settled, they should have at the back of their mind. I think this is just a little bit I want to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. Retirement, oh my goodness, I know, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. The things that are coming up, because there are some jobs that they would not pay your pension for you. And then you would, I know that I worked in a place where they would top up your retirement, but then they won't tell you to go and apply for it. So when you do, and you apply for it and you pay into it, then they will top up for you. But if you don't, then you'll just be working there because it saves them money. And so it's very important that we are talking about some of these things, especially for those of us that have decided that this is it, we are not going back again. This is the long haul. How can we survive it? Thank you so much, Mr. Wale, for sharing. Alex, I don't know if we can hear you now. I don't know, but you were, yeah, we still can't hear you.
While we wait, can I just add something to the retirement topic? I know we talked about career transitions, but I'm always surprised how when people are applying for jobs or considering a career transition, retirement isn't one of the considerations. Like sometimes I'm in the position of reviewing job offers. And when I talk to people, they don't even factor that in when they apply for a job. What's the benefits package? Because some people will just move jobs for a better retirement package. And I think that's definitely something that we can talk about. I just got excited when you both mentioned that. So I wanted to add that you can transition just based on what the company is offering, not just for a better pay, because it's a total rewards package.
Thank you, Nadia, for sharing. Alex, just keep saying hi and hi. When we can hear you, you can talk. No, I don't know why. But when you said anymore, I wanted to talk, we could hear you. Then all of a sudden, we can't anyway. So the floor is still open. We can take questions. We can take suggestions moving into the new year. And based on all the topics, if we have anyone that we think can speak on something, we could also suggest and you could connect us with that person so that we can have more knowledge. But I feel like even with education, we can have about 2 or 3 sessions just on education, how to get funding education, different types of education. So this is really interesting, a series. And I was also thinking, and I know I have mentioned this, but I was also thinking if we could have a series on international students. Express entry, the craze to come to Canada just, I think, became very prominent a few years ago. But before then, a lot of people were moving to Canada as international students. So majority of the people that I know that are in Canada now came as international students. So I was thinking that we could do a series on international students as well. They do not get a lot of funding because they should have money to come to school here. And so some of them come and, they do not really know what the rules are and they just come in. But then when they get through being international students and they apply for their permanent residence, they become a permanent resident and they become fully immigrants, and then they become just like us. So I feel like it's a different kind of experience. But what do we think about organizing a series on international students, or asking someone who came in as an international student to speak to international students and say, I think this is how you have to do things moving forward. And I say this because if you're an international student and you become a permanent resident, they don't tell you anything about settlement agency. You do not get any link, Bamidele, I'm sorry, but you do not get any link to get to SOPA, because the assumption is you're already in the country and you've been here for this number of years, so you should already know all these things. But then we don't know all these things, because when you come with school and everything, you are so focused on going to school. How do you get your fees paid? How do you do this? How do you do that? That you do not get. So whatever you rely on is what the community has to say about things that are going on. And we can all agree that sometimes the information we get from some of our communities or some people in our communities is not the best kind of information. And so that is what I'm thinking, because I mean, for people coming as new immigrants, as permanent residents, you have the settlement agencies to support you, to guide you, which probably may not be enough, but at least you have something I did not get a letter and to tell me that, oh, go here or go there. Congratulations, you're a permanent resident. That's all. Nothing. No information. You've been around for a while. You should know all this. So I don't know what we think, or what some of the topics that we can run for international students to better support them, because the goal for many of them is to come in and transition and become permanent residents. So yeah. What topics do you think we can run? Is this a great idea to have a series for international students? And if it is, what kind of topics that should we run? Anyone?
Anyone? Yeah, you are a passionate international student that landed here. So first of all, it's a good topic. It's a good series, and we recommend you as our speaker as well to share your experience.
I second that. Yes. You are the prime international student case.
In our midst,
So
yeah.
Yeah, you have the first-hand information. You know the struggles.
Okay, thank you. So we wish that.
Hello.
Alex,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry about that. I've had to, let me see.
a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Echoing.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Let me step here. Let me just see. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I think a number of the things I wanted to talk about have been addressed. One of the things I just want to mention is when I landed, my cousin, we're all in Calgary now, they were all in Fort Mac. And if you knew Fort Mac in 2011, yeah, it was a lot of petrodollar around, so everyone was so comfortable. Nobody actually, nobody told us about, great. Nobody told us about some of those things that I mentioned. If I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't buy a house the time I did, because one of the things that I tell people when they come is don't try to replicate the life you were living in Nigeria, no matter how rich you were there. I'm not ashamed to tell you that I made such mistake. When I saw how much we were paying for a 3 or 4 bedroom, and they calculated the mortgage, was a phone call to my bank in Nigeria. I said, how much is deposit? They told me. When they said it wasn't enough, 2 days later, the money was there. But what you do when you do those things is that you actually lose, totally, you lose a whole lot of benefits as new immigrant. If I knew what I knew, I used my Nigerian money, to start life here, so much so that even some benefits my children were getting were withdrawn, because you can't be living in an $800,000 house. You have 2 brand new cars, and then so when my wife complained, it was like, CRO says, sorry, you're living $800,000 house. This was less than a year when we came. One thing, we wanted to furnish house, $20,000 cash. You just paid and all of that, right? You look back and you're like, oh, but we just came. Why is this person getting this and you are not getting that? Yeah, in 8 months, you've shown that you're a millionaire. So why would they give you anything? So, like my brother Wally said, it's just good, get into a place, stand with one leg, try to understand the environment. Back home, it's only boys, right? It's money. You have money in your pocket and then you do what you do. But this whole system, it works so differently. So getting a good understanding of what it is and not trying to do yourself is an important one. When my wife eventually wanted to go to school, somebody we came together was able to get a grant, but they told her no, she couldn't get. So it was later we started understanding the financial system, and by then certain things had gone. One of the things I also told myself, having worked for many years in Nigeria, was that within 3 years, I was going to start a business of my own. But having gone into mortgage, having gone into all kinds of things and all of that, by the time I was ready to go into business, the businesses that I really wanted to, and they say, yeah, it's $100,000. 1 year before, I could have put that money down cash, but now I have I have it in mortgage, right? That is not paying me anything, right? So, and based on that, you just continue to postpone the opportunity because there are certain credits you go into in this town. It's almost like going to jail. It deflates a whole lot of other things that you have. You know, we have that mindset that I must live in my own house. We're talking about people who do survivor job, and I see a lot of people trying to go into mortgage and go into long-term. By the way, my background, I'm an accountant. I was FCA before I left Nigeria. I see people trying to use their short-term income to fund long-term, to make some long-term decision. It's wrong. If I'm here and I want to do my CPA, I'm not going to do a mortgage because I'm working in Walmart, right? I'm not going to go into certain things. I will want that the thing that will give me my long-term income. I will want to key myself into it before I start making I won't go and take a brand new car based on my survivor job. I won't take certain decisions, certain financial decisions that will lock me in and then make it impossible for me to get to that real goal that I want to get to. So I think it's a good thing if we make this a topic. What are the things you need to watch out for? And the one about education, it's so. I do immigration and I hear stories and it's so painful. People come here for 5 years. The school they were going into, they didn't know it won't give them postgraduate work experience. And after 5 years, they have to go back home because the school they've gotten themselves into does not have postgraduate work permit. And some, when they finish, instead of applying for their permit, they continue to work with their student permit. And then when it expires, yeah, there are some things that you can do within Canada. You have to just go back home, and God help you when you go back home and you're trying to apply for things here. But great topics. And I also support everybody that our moderator will be a good one to also lead us on that. If you don't want to get support from other people, maybe you want to get an educationist, you want to get somebody else to support you. But I also vote that you become our chief speaker on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alex, for going through all that hassle so that you could speak with us. So I just want to open the floor for any final moments, any final topics, so that we can wrap up. Mabel will then give us an update on our Christmas hamper moving forward. Tofik, is there something you want to say? The one on Galaxy 10 Plus? Deji, you are on mute. Okay, yeah. You have
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I moved in last year. Yes, so I'm actually assuming I'm so inexperienced to have to suggest. At this moment in time, I think I should learn from each and every one of you. Listen carefully and try tap into the knowledge you have had. But for me, one thing I would like us to talk about more is a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C for employment for newly immigrated people. Why I said plan A, B, C is, for instance, now, as we all know, most of us are experienced professional back home. Coming here, depending on how well you set your expectation, I did set my expectation a bit, moderate, not expecting so much and not under expecting as well. But that said, for my first strategy was, I'm aware that you can apply directly to jobs here with your certifications, international certifications. Like for me, I had an ACA, I had a CISA called CISA, and I also had a CRISC. I felt, okay, I could enter that world with my certifications and my experience, which I got a couple of interviews and it was really going fine. Unfortunately, I wasn't the chosen candidate. I still felt, okay, it happens. I keep on trying. But now came COVID. So it got to a point where I wasn't getting call-ups as I was getting before, And what made it more even difficult was I realized at a point in time, some people that were experienced and had the same qualifications were laid off. So those were back into the labor market like you. Unfortunately, that made you as a disadvantage because they had the experience, they had the qualifications, and they had the Canadian experience in quotes. So the screening basically will screen you out and consider them, and so that's why I said the first option, the plan A, plan B. So for me, plan A was to apply directly. That didn't get me anywhere. Plan B was to probably do networking through people and see if I could get coffee meeting, informal meeting, meet people through this kind of forum and other forums. Then plan C, I'm thinking that's what I think we could elaborate more on to encourage more people to be aware about. And plan C for me, I thought would have been ideal is maybe I will have gone for a certificate course in one of these schools, probably University of Calgary or SAIT or one of these schools. In one of the courses that will actually ensure I had a practicum. And with the practicum experience, I could be fortunate to be employed, or I could, even if I'm not employed, I will have gained the Canada experience, which I could put on my resume and continue my job search. So I think we should look for how to incorporate this into our next meeting and enlighten people more about that. That will go a long way to prepare them and build their resilience level.
I mean, if you don't mind, I can even answer. I can answer that. I think, Pamela, welcome. I'm also.
Huh?
I don't know. I don't know if you're a member of Afri-can Canada, right?
Yes, I'm a member of Afri-can Canada. And is that Alex speaking?
Yes.
Okay, Alex, we will need to meet personally off this, maybe through Afri-can Canada. But I'm listening to you.
Okay. Right. So there's some networks there, and that's why it's good when you come in, you have those professional networks. They're very good. You talked about that plan, the plan, plan C or plan, the plan C. I remember, what's our friend's name? The Osage, right? Osage dwelt on that during it. That was how he got into. That was how he got into the market here. That was how he gained employment. It was about, do something. And I'm also a stickler for folks. I didn't have to do that, maybe because I didn't have to. I didn't have to first get a certificate before I got a job. But you call it plan C, but what that thing really does for you, it's not just the certificate. It's that it brings you into network of people. That's what it does for you. So, and I always recommend it to people. If you think you're struggling with having the right connection, if you think you're not getting to the right professional group, take up. I've advised you. I'm into supply chain in my 9 to 5, and I've told people, just go do a certificate, a 3-month certificate. While they're on their 2nd month, a colleague is like, "Hey, where do you work?" "Oh, I'm just managing in Walmart." "Hey, you're so bright." "Oh, I'm going to talk to my lead." And before you know it, before they finish the 3 months program, because it's still a place where people talk to people. It's still a networking environment, because if you're good and you have somebody to speak for you, it always helps. So it's not really plan C as such. I would say it should be one of those plans you always have at the back of your mind. And if we can connect on the ICANN level, that would be great. I just thought I should help our moderator there, because Rawale talked about it when he made his presentation. Osage's life is wrapped around, taking up a program, and his mates were laughing at him. By the time he finished the program, got his practicum, and got into oil and gas industry, his mates looking for work were still looking for work. Whereas he did his practicum for free without being paid salary. And from there, they transitioned him into a role. So it's a great one. And it's been talked about before. If you want to, if our moderator want to put it as one of the things to call out in 2021, will also be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wale, do you want to add something to it? Bamidele. Okay, let me unmute. Okay,
For me, I think is well said, and for a lot of people, like you rightly said, I mean, what work for some of us might not be the general case for a lot of people. And what I've realized here in Canada, the more people you know, the better for you. The more people you're connected with, the better for you. And because the truth is that in my office today, if there's a role and there's no internal candidate, and I walk into the hiring manager and I said, I have a candidate, I know that what will happen is that that candidate will get to interview stage. It will not be left for the candidate for him or her to be able to demonstrate that. And especially in Calgary here, I had a friend who when he came into Calgary, didn't get a job quickly, and he got a contract role in
I'm on the
Toronto.
phone, so it's fine.
And he left for Toronto. And after the contract expired 1 year, the guy came back to Calgary, and I said, why did you have to come back to Calgary? He said, it's easier to network here in Calgary than to network in Toronto, is because a lot of people are chasing the same thing. So, and luckily, he was just one of a Nigerian guy who was working in another organization that just chipped in a word for him. And today he's working in that organization. So what I'm saying in essence is that, just like rightly mentioned, we've mentioned before about volunteering, because instead for you to sit down at home, you are 2 months, you haven't getting a job, and why don't you look for volunteer opportunities where you can go in and meet people? I've been to sometimes I went to a food bank and I met some people who are actually retirees, because you're just looking for where to keep themselves busy. So I know COVID has actually changed a lot of things, but one of the other ways to gather that experience, as we talked before, is how do you volunteer? How do you get yourself out there? And how do you make sure that you are connecting to people? And once you are connected, the more you're connected to people, one of them will click for you. And that's the way it works here, especially here in Calgary. And I know a lot of people who have been here longer than me will be able to say more about that too. Thank you.
Bamidele, were you going to say something?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So hi Deji. It's been a while. Deji was a super client before he landed in Canada. We haven't seen. Yeah, so going back to what Deji said, it brought up an idea that African Connect can probably have industry-focused sessions, maybe every month or every quarter, but industry-focused sessions where you bring in immigrants who are already settled into occupational roles in different industries. It could be supply chain, business analysis, financial services. So they can share, there will be one or two things. They might not follow the same exact route that the individual, followed to securing a job in the field, but there will be one or two ideas that they can take away from those experiences and adapt to their own situation, to be able to secure a job. Like Alex was saying, there's a friend of mine who's also in supply chain currently in Calgary. He studied geology in Nigeria. Everyone from Nigeria would know many times you study something else, but you never get to use your certificate. So he studied geology, but never got a job in oil and gas. So he worked as a supply chain specialist. And so when he got here, he got a couple of interviews, but they kept asking him, you study geology, has nothing to do with, supply chain. That they don't. So he was trying to explain. Some of these guys didn't understand. So what he did was to then go to SAIT. He took I think it was a 6-month course or something. He was working in a warehouse and then taking that course in the evenings, going in class in the evenings. And then I think a month before he was done with the program, just updated his LinkedIn profile and put in the name of the certificate on his LinkedIn profile. And an employer, contacted him on LinkedIn. It wasn't even through a network. Employer contacted him on LinkedIn. Oh, you're at SAIT, you're gonna be done when? He said in a month I'm done. So okay, would like you to come in for a conversation. And then he got the job. I mean, he's still employed that role today. So that does happen for people. Then back to what Alex and Mr. Adewumi have said, networking is big. I mean, people tend to underestimate the impact of networking. is really massive. My wife got a job with ATB during, this pandemic. She didn't apply for it. A couple of our friends who already work in ATB recommended her for the role. She did go through, 3 interviews, rigorous interviews, but she did, she got the job eventually. So, and she didn't apply for it, even in the middle of a pandemic. So a network is really important, and then to volunteering, like Mr. Adeomi said, I got my job through volunteering. I was doing a survival job, and then my survival job was Monday to Thursday. So that left Fridays free for me. So on Fridays, I was volunteering with my organization and doing mentorship programs, going for networking events, and all of that. And then my role became vacant. And the previous occupant of the role, who was leaving, then just called me out of the blue. I said, "Are you interested? I'm leaving. I'm going back to school. I want to go into another profession entirely. Are you interested in the role?" I said, "Of course. Why not?" Then I interviewed. I was even the last to be interviewed for the job, but I then got the job. I'm sure it was because I was recommended by the person who was occupying the role before. So these are really great points that we can take to heart. We need all the help we can get as immigrants in Canada, all the help we can get.
Okay, so Dele, before I let you go, I don't know if you've started your YouTube, if you have the information to share with us, because people have been still emailing. Do we have details about Bamidele's YouTube sessions?
Not yet, but I'm starting it this month. Before the end of by next week, it should be running. So I will let you know when I do.
Okay.
Once it goes live, yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good. Nadia, your hand is up. You can talk. Then Mabel can give us an update if no one has anything. Yeah.
So I'm gonna play the devil's advocate and ask like pointed questions here. So I think all the comments and ideas coming forth are fantastic. It's just gonna be a great way for us to provide support. I'm curious about what our specific success measures are as a society, so as a group and a nonprofit, when it comes to 2021. And I know we're still in a pandemic, so it might mean, curbing the excitement on what we want to do because there are limitations that we can't go beyond. What does success look like for us? Is it number of participants? Because with these topics and with all of these areas, there will be variation. Some topics will be very popular, others probably not so much, depending on who's available and all of that. Is it number of grants, or how much grants we're looking at accessing? Is it the value of speakers who are going to come in and talk about these topics? I'm just curious about if by December 2021, we're meeting again to have our hopefully in-person party, not virtual. What are we gonna say? This was super successful. Is it because we were able to run 100 topics? Is it because we got 100 people participating or asking questions? Is it because we got great speakers? Is it because we got grants? What are those measures that we're looking at achieving for the year? That's my question.
Yeah.
So anyone can take a Mabel, Bookie.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe one of our success, maybe it depends on the program, but one of our measures of success can be to look at the number of participants and the kind of comments they make after a specific program. So maybe let's take, for instance, the international students. So number of people who attended the program and the success story, like whether they were able to now know things they didn't know exist for them, and how grateful they are for the opportunity to get access to valuable information like that. I think that can be one of the measures for our success.
Thank you. I think for me this year, it was the story for me. Success for African Connect was the message, the feedback we got. Thank you for doing this event. Thank you for the program. So the feedback that people that listen, even if it was one person, the feedback that we got, thank you. This has really impacted me. This has molded how I move forward going on for me, it's the feedback that gives me joy. And I know that usually when we go off Facebook and we talk in person, one thing that I dance about is when we get those feedback and people are like, thank you so much. It was really good for me. For me, that is it.
Okay. Hello. If I heard the other lady correctly, I think she's asking us to consider what will be termed as success against next year, not this year. So for me, that will entail we setting our priorities, putting in place objectives and what we want to achieve. I think if I heard her correctly, I think that's what she's asking for. So things like we're able to reach out to 10 new immigrants and help them settle in well. We're able to inform new immigrants about this job opportunity or what they can do in case this doesn't come up. We're able to advise international students on how best to become PR and eventually citizens. We are able to help families save their money or education or things in that line. I think that's why I believe she was trying to ask. Nadia, am I?
No, you're not. And I'm trying to look here to look at your name. I'm sorry, I'm not calling out your name properly. Yes, that is what I'm talking about. And I think, we will have further meetings. The only reason why I bring that up is because when it comes to learning sessions, and I do training and development, we often, as people offering support, are really excited about what we want to achieve. But of course, every participant comes in with a different set of expectation and impact. So what Aniwa and I think it was Mercy who mentioned about this year is great, and it's a great way to measure success. What I think we can do, and I'm happy to help with that, is let's set those goals for this year, right? So let's say financial personal finances. We want to touch 5 topics per year. Let's set those goals and say maybe we want to reach, I don't know, 500 immigrants. We want to reach 1,000, whatever those are, so that when the results start coming in. So if you're getting the impact stories or the whatever the case might be for people whose lives have changed or whatever, then you're measuring it against those goals that you set initially, right? So that it's prior to those things that you're delivering on. It will motivate and also kind of guide our actions if we're setting those. And again, if you want us to connect about that, I'm happy to do that. I just think that these are all great, and we just need to kind of pull it together into, okay, these are the targets, and this is where we want to focus for the year, and this is what we're going to deem as successful. So I hope I'm not pushing it too much, but that's what I was thinking.
Okay, guys. Mr. Alex said post attendance will be topping monkey.
Mercy, can you please come again?
Yeah, I said Mr. Alex sent a comment saying post attendance survey is a good one.
Nadia, we can connect later, and then we can really build these objectives. And maybe in our first monthly meeting in January, we can tell everyone what the timetable is going to look like, what the measures are going to look like. So probably we'll meet before then, and then we can outline that. And so because I don't want us to go over the time, it's getting close to 3. I just want Mabel to give us an update of the Christmas hampers. But before she does that, we were able to support 68 families around in September who had been affected by COVID. 68 families. For some of them, they got gift cards. For some of them, they got food hampers. And so for the majority of them were international students and newcomers who had just come and they haven't found jobs yet. And we were very happy that we were able to do that. We're not going to bring anyone here because we do not think that we need people here to come and say, oh, I got this or I got that. But we were so glad that we got the funding to do that. We are giving Christmas hampers, and Mabel is going to give us an update. I don't know if we still have more to give out and how you can connect with us so that you can get one. But we are grateful to our sponsors, Action Dignity, Calgary Foundation, and the third one I've forgotten. But thank you so much for giving us the support to be able to help Africans living in.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. And I think it was a very good section. And we thank you for your time. Yeah. So on the Christmas hampers, it's still ongoing. We still have a lots of hampers to give. I think we have about 35 hampers to give out. So if anybody has anyone who is in need, maybe international students, new immigrants, someone who is isolating, please feel free to send out the link. It's on our Facebook page, and let them reach out because there are a lot of hampers to give out. Yeah. So we have everything bought and everything is ready to go. We just need the people to go and deliver the hampers too. So yeah. And if anybody can be of help and being the link between us and anyone in need, a senior or an international student, a single parent, and anyone isolating because of COVID, new immigrants, please feel free and send them the link and let them register for it.
Much, Mabel. Please don't feel shy. We do not share your details with anyone. We do not even share your details with the funders, or if we do, we anonymize it. So don't feel shy. I know that there was someone that needed the support and couldn't come out to get it, and so I know I gave it to them, and they were so very happy. And this Christmas, they came out themselves because they were afraid when people realize that, oh, they are going for Christmas hamper. We do not share your details, and so you will be safe. If you think you need support, please come out and get support. Let's support each other and help ourselves. So I'll let Barbara give the vote of thanks, and we can call it a good meeting.
Right. Thank you very much, Animwa. Thank you, everyone, for attending, for finding time to join us on our last meeting for the year. I know we have actually had these sessions for the last 7 months, and we've had different speakers in the last 7 months. And 3 out of the 7 speakers we've had, 7 speakers we've had, they are here. So we just want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Alex Irete. Want to say thank you to Mr. Bamidele Salako and also Mr. Wale Adewumi. He was the one that took us off from the beginning. And we also want to give a shout out to the rest of our speakers. If you know them, just tell them we're appreciative. That would be Mrs. Margaret Adekunle, Mr. Godwin Osage, Mr. Buado, Mr. Kunle Pokuola. Please, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I mean, this is what we've done for the major part of this year because of COVID. We've had these sessions and it has put us out there on social media, and we are really appreciative of all that you have given for these sessions. And we're also looking forward to a better 2021. Hopefully we'll be able to do in-person meetings instead of just Zoom and seeing our faces and our necks upwards. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Animwa. You've done very well. You got a job, but you're still on fire. Want to appreciate you. Thank you, Buki. Thank you for the hard work during the year. Thank you, our IT person. She's not showing her face. Mercy. Thank you, Mabel, and thank you, everyone. So we hope to see you next year. Thank you, Nadia. I mean, you've been good. I know you've been giving us some nice tips at the background. I really want to appreciate you. She's one of our board members that has been available anytime we call on them. And yes, just thank you so much. And we look forward to 2021 and see you then. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So before we go, thank you so much, Barbara. Someone wanted to know, when will the next meeting be? Our meetings are always the last Saturday of the month from Mountain Time, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Last Saturdays of the month, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And if anything happens or it's a holiday or something, we might postpone it, maybe bring it a week earlier or something. But we'll let you know. All information about our meeting is always on our social media platform, African Connect Society. Thank you very much and enjoy the holidays. Happy New Year. May 2021 be good to us. Cheers. Bye-bye.